Sorry, guys, my mic was muted. I apologize. Can everyone hear me? I did get my technical issues sorted out. I do apologize for those. Hi, Lynn. How are you? It's good to see you, John. Hello, Tech Death. Welcome. Love listening to your music. Hey, Maria. How are you, my dear? Good to have you with us tonight. Hey, Jennifer. How are you, my dear? Always good to have you here. Hi, Pam. Welcome. Hey, AJ. How are you, my lovely dear? How are things down under? Have missed you. I know you've been away, so it's really nice to have you here. Hey, Melissa. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, Digital. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you're here with us tonight. I'm welcoming everyone, and there's good old Nightbot. Yes, to hear more music like the intro, please subscribe to our friend Tech Death Hippie, and he makes some amazing music. So make sure you reach out to him if you need music for any occasion. Hey, Unsolved, I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. How are you? How are you? So good to have you here with us. Hey, little Pookie, welcome. So good to see you. I hope you're well. Hey, Bean. It's always nice to see everyone. Hey, CJK. Good to have you with us. Hey, Dee. Good evening. How are you? Hey, Miss Thang. Yep, just everybody reminder that the Libby and Abby Memorial Ride tomorrow is in Indianapolis at the Kitley, or not tomorrow. It's not tomorrow. It's on Saturday. It's on the 16th, I thought. And it's at the Kitley Inn. And that was weird. My chat box kind of reloaded. It was weird. Can you guys hear me? Tell me that you can hear me. Just give me a minute. I was having some issues. Okay, so you guys can hear me. Okay, good. Yay. Thank you, everyone, so much. Hey, Tamara. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Mary. Good to have you here. So good to see everyone. Hey, SD. I think I missed you somehow. Well, welcome, everyone. I think we're going to have a really good show tonight. I think Meow Zedong is supposed to be here, so I hope he shows up soon. And hey, Truth Justice, how are you? It's good to have you here. Always good to have you here. Meow, there you are. So glad to see you. I didn't see you come in. So thank you. I'm glad to see you. Hey, Larry. No, I am not from Delphi. If you were speaking to me, I am not from Delphi. I'm close, but I'm not from Delphi. So, one of the things, I had a real nightmare. Hey, Cold Truth. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. It's so good to see you in the house. Everyone say hello to Cold Truth. Make sure you go over and check out her channel. She has an amazing true crime channel as well. And she's one of the really good female content creators on YouTube, as well as True Crime Maria. True Crime Maria is as well. And now we have Unsolved Crimes Uncovered. She's doing excellent work on Flora. I'm so happy to be in company of these fine ladies. I'm here to say, hey, DGR Dave, True Crime Web, Enoch, Lipsha. So good to see you guys all. I'm happy to have you here. Maria just dropped Cold Truth's channel here. So please make sure you guys go over and check her out. Unsolved, you're too nice. You're doing amazing work, my dear. We're going to talk about some of your work tonight on the fires. So I had a technical glitch. I had to shut down my computer. When I did that, everything that I had open for my show tonight got closed. So you guys are going to have to bear with me as I kind of hunt for things tonight. And I'm really sorry. It's never happened to me since in the 5 months I've been streaming. It's never happened, but you know, we all have technical things sometimes, and it's just the way it is, I guess. Oh, and while I'm talking about content creators, please go over and see Meow Zedong on YouTube. Their channel is equally amazing. They're doing some fantastic work. And I just put their channel in the chat so that you guys can see that. He also has a subreddit on the Flora 4. So please make sure you check that out as well. They only have 402 subscribers on that subreddit, and we need to get that subscriber count up. We need to get the Flora girls some exposure. We need more people following it, more people listening to it, and whether it be on Reddit, whether it be here. So just make sure that you guys are sharing all of this everywhere that you can. I so appreciate it. Yes, Larry, it certainly was a devastating time there. And it's still devastating for the family. They are absolutely crushed by the loss of those 4 little girls. I am so glad to see so many new people coming into the Flora case, talking about it and getting exposure out there. It's important. We're going to look at some of Meow's videos tonight, so you guys can get a taste of the work that they're doing. But I'm serious, the subreddit has so much information, and I really, really appreciate everything that they've done, and I know Truth Justice does as well. So with all of that, let's get started. I wanted to say I was going to do my missing person that I always do, but I think I'm going to do that a little bit later because I've got to find it. I had it all pulled up. So while this video is playing and we're watching it, I'll get some of that stuff going here. So the first video that I want to show is, hold on one second. It is, I don't remember. Yeah, this one's only 4 minutes long, but it is so good. It's called the Flora 911 call. So I am going to share this, share my screen with you guys. So just give me one moment to do that. And we're going to, well, what are you doing now? There you go. Stop that. It's really quiet in the beginning, so don't worry, there isn't any sound. So if you guys want, I'll just read this to you. Josh Ayers served an elected position while subject to the investigation of the Flora fires. Josh Ayers is the owner of the house where the girls perished. He has requested details of the investigation to be withheld from the public, and the attorney has disputed multiple media attempts to obtain the E911 calls from the public. We obtained the 911 calls from that fateful day. Carroll County was found directly in violation of the FOIA for refusing to disclose the E911 calls that fateful day. The county spent taxpayer money to fight legal charges in court. Some folks say that government can be controlled, in part by limiting the tax revenue available to elected officials. Currently, our county officials are knee-deep in litigation, likely expensive litigation, with 16 media organizations over the county's decision to withhold the recording of a 911 call. The call made to Carroll County Dispatch in November of 2016 related to the Flora fire that killed 4 children and which was subsequently ruled arson. See the front page coverage of this matter in the latest 2 issues, 219 of 20 and 226 of 20 of the Carroll County Comet. In effect, it appears that our increased county income tax dollars are in part funding a very questionable stance taken by the county in appealing a lower court ruling and continuing to withhold the recording of a phone call now 3.5 long years ago. Maybe it's time the taxpayers consider options for flexing more power over the purse strings of the county. Carroll County Comet. So this is the notes about the time and what happened. At 3:28 a.m., it looks as if, well, the first event was observed. It looks like Galen is awakened by the presence of smoke in her bedroom on the first floor of the structure after attempting to retrieve her 4 children from the second floor bedroom. She was forced to escape. Her neighbors awakened, descended to the first floor, and called to alert Joshua Ayers, and then 911 of the fire. So make note that the neighbors decided to call the landlord first and not 911. Courtney Dons is awakened by a sounding smoke alarm. After getting out of the house, she calls 911 and observed smoke pouring out of the residence. At 3:28 a.m., Josh Ayers notified of the fire via phone call from Elizabeth Ayers stating, "Your house is on fire." Elizabeth Ayers, I believe, was the next door neighbor, the wife of the next door neighbor. And a cell call is placed prior to calling 911. At 3:34:05 a.m., the first 911 call connects. Elizabeth Ayers reports a fire at the house next door at 103 East Columbia Street. There are 4 kids inside and the neighbor is outside. It's a 2-story building, and the call audio begins at 9.4 seconds into the track. At 0.51 into the call, Adam Ayers is heard yelling and asking where the children are. At 1:05 into the track, the dispatcher says They are toning the fire department. At 1:18 into the call, Adam Ayers is heard yelling for a light. And at 2:10 into the call, a police-style vehicle siren is heard. At 3:34:26 a.m., the second 911 call connects. Courtney Dons reports a fire downstairs at 103.5 East Columbia. Smoke is pouring out. There are kids in the house. Courtney tells present company to grab their stuff and says she has her clothes. The call audio begins 8.8 seconds into the track. At 0:41 into the call, the dispatcher asks Courtney to stay on the line while they get the fire department going. In the silence that follows and periodically through the remainder of the call, a fire alarm type alarm is heard in the background. At 1:09 into the call, she yells to others, asking if the kids are out. She confirms the kids are not out. At 2:01 into the call, she says, "There are cops here now." Adam Ayers attempts entry to retrieve Miss Rose's 4 children from the upstairs room. Mr. Ayers encountered heavy black smoke, crawled inside and observed fire on the floor and on top of a table in the dining room area, which he referred to as the kitchen. It is not known where he was inside the residence. He was forced out by smoke and heat and went to retrieve a flashlight and a blanket. He stated that he returned and re-entered, was forced out again, and then observed the arrival of Officer Dissinger. At 3:35 a.m., emergency responders were dispatched and toned out. So, just given that with what we know, there was so much time wasted. I mean, I know that it's all past, and we can ask these questions over and over again, but this helps us to see what was going on that day, because how in the world okay, I do not want that person in timeout. We are not talking and blaming the mother. If you're in here to do that, you need to take that conversation somewhere else. So I'm here to say that right now. Now, I don't understand how anyone who witnesses a fire, smells a fire, knows that there are children that live in that structure, can hear them screaming, and would actually call the owner of the home first. What in the world is Josh Ayers going to do to fight that? To fight that fire? Why would you do that? What would be in your mindset to have you do that? The very first people to arrive on scene were from Delphi, which makes no sense. And I'm tired of hearing, well, they're volunteer firemen. Yeah, they're volunteer firemen, and when the tones go out, they're supposed to react. And the fire department is less than 500 feet from this house. I mean, it's ridiculously close. when somebody's house is on fire, and I've experienced this because, oh, it's been years now, but my neighbor across the street's house was on fire, caught fire in the middle of the night. And trust me, nobody was calling anybody but the fire department to get them there and to save them. They had 5 children in that house. So I just don't understand that. And I really think and wonder if the investigators asked those questions. And just because they are related, yeah, the neighbor was related to him, but I just don't get it. But I thought that this was an extremely very well done video. It gives us the timeline of when things happened. Hey, Paris07. Thank you so much for joining us. It's just very, very suspicious in all of this. And it does lead me to wonder if there is a family in the city of Flora or someone in the city of Flora that is trying to keep the truth from coming out. And it really bothers me. We've all been taught to call 911. I mean, you don't wait. Minutes count, seconds count, and especially in a fire. So it's, yeah, one of the owners, it wasn't heirs, but it was the other owner, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Begins with an H, the last name. He's the other owner of the house. He lived across the street on the corner, if I'm correct, on the corner of Main Street. And it's just, you know, it's just crazy. Troy Helderman, that's correct. Thank you so much, Truth Justice. I knew you would know it. He's the other owner. He owns the house with Josh. They have a holding company. So that's the first video that I wanted to show. Just one moment, because I'm going to exit this. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute, and then I'm going to get out of here, and we're going to look at another of Meow's videos because I thought it was really important. And it's not long. This one's 9 minutes, I think. But it's worth listening to. So I'll share my screen with you guys again. And we'll watch Meow's video.
Police work in this case. Is the third person to now resign that has been involved in the investigation of a deadly fire that killed these 4 sisters. Adam Randall's resignation as fire chief comes almost a year after the girls' deaths. Adam's father, Dennis Randall, was the fire investigator at the State Department of Homeland Security. He has also quit his job this year. He resigned this summer after 13 investigators uncovered criminals questioning his handling of the case. And then just last week, the Carroll County prosecutor announced he's retiring at the end of the year for private, personal reasons. His work with deadly Flora fire, where 4 little girls died more than a year ago. Investigators with the Indianapolis Fire Department are conducting a peer review of the case, led by missteps and resignations. 13 investigators reporter Sandra Chapman broke the story on questionable evidence in this case and why state police are asking IFD to take a closer look. Sandra? Indiana State Police say arson is outside of its expertise. The agency is hoping experienced investigators like those at IFD who have solved complex cases like the Richmond Hill explosion, for example, can help.
After a lot of controversy surrounding the investigation, a peer review has found the fire was intentionally set.
As we know, the Indiana State Police have been leading the investigation. They've kind of taken it over, and they've been leading it since the fire.
Can you guys hear it now?
Happened originally, and it happened back in 2016 in November. But amidst that controversy over the cause, they called in the Indianapolis Fire Department. IFD did what's called a peer review to examine the origin and cause of the fire. They started the review the first week of December, going over witness reports, the actual scene of the fire, and two other reports on the fire, one from Deputy Fire Marshal Dennis Randall and one from a fire investigator hired by the girl's mother and her attorney. All three reports, including this latest from...
Okay, so I just want to stop it here for a minute and remind everybody that the fire investigator that was hired by mom and her attorney, she wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on, and she did not trust what was happening with the fire investigation. So she hired her own fire investigator, which I think was a really smart thing for her to do. In this case, I probably would do it as well. If it was me, I would want to have, how do I want to put it? People who aren't invested to take a look. So, and with everything going on in Carroll County and everything that's been going on in Carroll County, I would suggest that people do it more often and have someone else take a look at it.
IFD conclude the fire was set intentionally. State police say this confirms that the fire was set intentionally again, and they're going to continue their criminal investigation, but they're still looking for more information from the Flora Volunteer Fire Department is now stepping in.
And now we're hearing from Adam Randall. The last hour he sent a statement saying more investigation will always weigh heavily on him and his fellow first responders. But he says, quote, the investigation is not at all a factor in my decision to resign.
Now, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I can't, Pam. It's out as loud as it'll go. So I don't know if you can turn up your speakers or whatever you guys are listening on, but it's as loud as it'll go. So I don't know how it was recorded or anything, but yeah, I've got my speakers as loud as it'll go. So, and it's as loud as it'll go here on YouTube as well. But one of the things I was going to bring up was this investigation is not at all a factor in my decision to resign. Who believes that? I mean, who? Hey, Gonzo. How are you, my dear? So good to see you. I mean, I just don't understand who in their right mind thinks that that's true, that this person did not resign, knowing that his father's resigned, his mother's in trouble, I just don't know. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Robert Ives resigned. There's a lot of resignations around this case. I think it's for political reasons. I think they knew that they were in trouble. I don't know why. They don't want to release the 911 call. My sleuthing mind says that it's because there's something damning on the call. Either something that was said or something that shouldn't have been said that was maybe socially unacceptable in response to the crime, the fire. I just don't know. But it really does bother me. Like I said, I just think that there's some politicalness around this whole thing, and it shouldn't be. This is about trying to solve an arson murder. And I know that people out there believe that the fire was started not intentionally to hurt the girls, but I don't buy that. I absolutely do not buy that. This fire was set to intentionally harm those children. I would be absolutely floored to find out anything else. Yeah, that was the other thing. The landlord never called 911. So he gets notified that there's a fire at his house where he knows children are residing, and he doesn't bother to call 911. So, I mean, it's sickening. Yeah, it is a crime. There's a lot of things that I know about the case that I actually can't talk about because I don't want to put things out there that could be harmful to the investigation. But I will tell you that I believe that this person responsible for this fire is responsible for other fires in the county area. I believe that Carroll County is burning. I also believe that there are other counties that butt up to Carroll County that are also burning. And Unsolved Crimes Uncovered has really given us a lot to think about in that respect. So we'll be talking about that soon. So Adam Randall said he wasn't involved in the case, and it wasn't the reason for him to resign. But that was not true. And Meow calls it out. Adam Randall was among the first at the scene. So.
His father, Dennis Randall, had been a lead investigator for Homeland Security until he quit in July.
Our 13 investigation reporter Sandra Chapman was the first one covering scrutiny over the senior Randall's finding.
In Flora, the case came under scrutiny after former state fire marshal investigator Dennis Randall issued a press release claiming he had discovered accelerants in several locations. Investigators on the case backed away from those findings after 13 investigators revealed emails from a Michigan investigator who said Randall's conclusions were based on speculation and not evidence.
So this comes from a fire investigator. I'm not positive. Truth Justice, is this fire investigator, or Meow, is this fire investigator with the insurance company? Who is this guy from Michigan? Do we know? Okay, so he's with the insurance company. And he says, basically, the reason for this email is because the January 28th, 2017 press release by the state fire marshal about the conclusions of their investigation are not correct and completely based on speculation and not evidence. As of this date, my investigation, along with the Flora fire investigator, as well as ATF special agent investigations, are still open and ongoing, as our investigation was put on hold until we could gather more input from the ATF with computer fire modeling to help us hopefully narrow down a specific room of origin. Once this has been determined, the electrical components within the room of origin will need to be completely ruled out via a lab exam by our electrical engineers and not just a cursory look at the scene before we can say definitively that the electrical system has been completely ruled out. Also, the press release statement about accelerants being discovered in several locations is absolutely not based on any evidence discovered at the scene during the investigation, and the investigator, Dennis Randall, was not performing a proper origin and cause investigation based on the current procedures of NFPA 921-2016 edition to opine that opinion. Please allow me the opportunity to meet you in person and explain the investigation in detail. This report filed and press release given by Dennis Randall is truly unfortunate and potentially a grave injustice for the 4 little girls that perished in the fire. And I've also attached a current copy of my CV so that you can get a better idea of my fire investigation background, as well as education, training, and experience to opine the opinion against Mr. Randall. Please contact me at your earliest convenience.
It's important for fire investigators because the old standards just may not stand up in court. When arson convictions were getting tossed out across the country, tonight problems in the Flora case are what departments everywhere can do to prevent questionable results. Arson cases like the one in Carroll, evidence is critical. Without proper training, it can be missed or muddled. No matter the case, Bergon says following a widely accepted industry guideline known as NFPA 921 is key to avoiding mistakes.
We do have some investigators that are still not getting the appropriate amount of training.
Mike Bergon is a certified fire investigator. His company is also conducting a private investigation.
I'm hopeful that at some point there'll be some understanding of what happened and support with the family.
Vergon states, where I thought the fire started is where it started. And the reporter says, and that is where? I can't really say right now because I'll tell you why. If we get to a point in the investigation that they make an arrest, the only people that should know where the fire started is the person who said it and the investigators. Investigator Michael Vergon concluded that the fire originated within the rear porch area of the structure. He determined that the kitchen door to the rear porch area had been nearly fully open at the time of the fire and reported that the fire initiated at or near floor level, on the porch, and or within the area of the kitchen porch doorway. He concluded that the fire became ventilation limited, which resulted in a low oxygen environment within the residence. Mr. Vergon reported the cause of the fire to be incendiary in nature and caused by the intentional ignition of combustible materials by a competent ignition source, for example, a match or a lighter. Mr. Vergon further concluded that based on witness testimony of Mr. Adam Ayers and patterns of burning observed on the south end of the deck, the basement door, and the door frame, the possibility also exists that an ignitable liquid was utilized to facilitate and enhance flame spread.
If an investigator is going to publicly state or issue a written opinion regarding the cause of the fire, then the proper procedures and methods have to be followed.
Now, insurance companies on all sides of the Flora investigation will get a chance to review all of the reports from private investigators. Insurers in general want to make sure fraud is not involved in arson cases. They are also looking for product malfunctions or human errors made by repair workers. And of course, they want to hear what law enforcement has to say about possible criminal activity. And again, this is involved in arson.
And this case just continues on, no end in sight.
They're looking for someone to say this person or these people are responsible.
Even if it's political, who lost their lives.
That's right.
Temple is a Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives profiler assigned to the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit.
What's really going on here? What might a motive or combination of motives be in this case? And what type of offender we might be looking at? What type of individual we might be looking at? My party in a criminal investigation is just a small bit. What we tend to think about these types of offenders is that they operate in an area that they feel comfortable in, they blend in, they fit in, they belong there. Revenge against society. Maybe he hasn't done too well in life. Maybe there's stressors operating in his life and he feels like striking out. They tell us that their fire setting and the power is used to maintain power. The fire setting is used to maintain power, regain power, and demonstrate that power. I think in the research, over 90% of the serial arsonists were male.
Police had a good idea of who they were looking for.
24-hour News 8's Joe McCurdy had the rare opportunity to talk with the profiler who gave investigators the description they needed.
A firebug terrorized neighborhoods in and around Grand Rapids over the summer. Give a different perspective. One Ron Tunkel could provide. And what Tunkel has learned from past profiles, sort of silhouette of who they were looking for. No name, no physical description fit the profile in other less specific ways. In the end, it was a tip that led investigators to set up the trap that McIntyre walked right into. That's the way it usually works.
The mind of an arsonist.
Most close to McIntyre says he's had a tough life. His own sister described him as sick, his mind troubled. There are suggestions he lost control, lost power over his own life. Past fire centers have suggested that as another symptom.
I want to stop it right there because I thought that that was extremely telling and important. Serial arsonists, most often, from what the profilers are saying, lose control or power in their life in some way or fashion. And they're trying to get power and control back. And if you recall, I just am going to throw it out there, but we know for a fact that Delphi was because we know this is about power to you. So I'm just, it is very possible that these two cases are connected, and we cannot just close it in the closet like a lot of people have tried to do for the last 5 years and say that these cases are not related. If we have a serial arsonist out there who is targeting females and female children, to be specific, then that person could have very well decided at some point that the fire wasn't doing it for them. That's something that happens as well, is that they move on to other uh, escalating types of crimes. And when you stop and think about it, I mean, I'm not trying to create a conspiracy, big, huge conspiracy thing here, but when you look at the statistics that Unsolved has drummed up around this, it's absolutely mind-boggling. And we are going to talk a little bit about that. There is just so many avenues and aspects of what could and possibly be going on in Carroll County and the areas around Carroll County, all the other counties, because there's like 8 counties involved here where their statistics of fires are so astronomically higher than what they were expected to be. Insurance companies have people that work for them that actually plot and plan. They look at what are the chances of this happening over this set period of time based on statistics. What are the statistics telling us? What is the chance of us having more fires in this location over the next 30 years or 20 years or whatever? And they actually plot that and they look at it. And Carroll County and some of these other counties are so far off the grid of where they should have been for fires. It's just crazy. So let's take a look at that. Let me stop my screen here for a minute. And we're going to take a look at a little bit of Unsolved Crimes video. Now, her video is really long. It's over an hour, and we're not going to watch the whole thing, but we are going to jump through some of it. And I want you guys to make sure that you do go watch it and watch the whole thing, because it's really, really good. And it really gives you a perspective on what she's talking about with the statistics. And it's scary. It's absolutely frightening.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I know it's been a little while. I have to apologize for that. Life has just been so chaotic lately, as I'm sure some of you can relate. In my last video, we have presented a lot of data about the abnormally high number of fire deaths in Flora Blinkers and the counties neighboring Carroll County. In this video, we're going to be digging a little bit
they show a hugely disproportionate number of female fire deaths have occurred compared to males. And this disparity should be considered statistical evidence of the gender motivated hate crime, femicide. Femicide is the murder of females because they are female. And as you know, this story began more than 5 years ago when 6 Carroll County girls and 0 males were murdered in a 3-month span. Before we start, as always, I would like to express my condolences to the victims' families. The loss of your loved ones is why I am making these videos. May God be with you. I'd also like to thank many YouTubers who are working so hard to bring about justice for the Flora and Delphi girls. And many of you threw me a lifeline after I fell overboard. Thank you so much for your help. Kristen, Behind the Crime Door, Hot Facts, True Crime Design, you have all been amazing through this journey. So before we delve into some of the newer content that I would like to present to you all concerning the victimology and the why, as to why I believe the killer may have chosen the victims he has chosen, I do want to offer a brief update concerning some of the prior statistical information that we have previously covered. In the last video, we discussed fire mortality statistics, where to find them, and how they show an abnormally high number of fire deaths in Flora Bringhurst and the 5 counties neighboring Carroll County. 13 fire deaths occurred in Flora Bringhurst in 13 years, when 1 death was expected every 30 years. The astronomical.
Now, did you hear what she said? She said that in this time period, there were 13 fire deaths in the Flora Bringhurst area when there was only supposed to be 1 in a 30-year period, based on the statistics and the plotting that they do on these murders, on these arson deaths.
The number of fire deaths in Flora Bringhurst compared to the size of its population is a billboard-size warning that was giving flashing red lights after the 2016 arson mass murder that killed the 4 Flora sisters. The Flora warning has not been heeded, and the skyrocketing fire mortality in counties neighboring Carroll County since 2017 can almost certainly be traced back to Flora.
So there's a 6-county area. There's Carroll County, White County, Clinton, Cass, Howard, and Miami counties. Okay? And that's the area that this is just incredibly crazy. There's something going on here.
During the 2016 to 2022 period under review, a total of 15 fire deaths were expected in the 6-county area, while 36 had occurred. The 6-county anomaly.
So right there, she tells you that 15 fire deaths in these counties were expected between 2016 and March of 2022, and 36 happened. And of the 36, 1 was supposed to be a child, and they actually had 19 children. 19 children.
Has nearly identical victim demographics as Flora Bringhurst, where 13 fire deaths happened between 2003 and 2016. 1 death per 30 years, as I mentioned, was expected in Flora Bringhurst. The abnormally large number of 6-county
So here she's showing us that Indiana had an 8-year average of 55 child fire deaths, which was 9.6%, okay, of 569 total fire deaths. In the 6-county area that we're talking about, from 2016 to 2022, they had 19 child fire deaths, 53%. Unbelievable.
Are believed to be an extension of the Flora Brinker's trend where 62%, or 8 of the 13 Flora Brinker's fire deaths were children. 53% of the 6-county fire deaths since 2016 were children. On average, 10% of all fire deaths in Indiana are children. 19 children have died in the 6-county fires since 2016, when 1 death was expected. The calculation used to derive the expected number of child deaths aged 1 to 14 used Indiana's child fire mortality rate without the 6-county area and was cross-checked with the national child fire mortality rate obtained from the CDC's Wonder database. The CDC printouts are shown within tables 3A and 3B for your reference. An even more disturbing fact about the abnormally high number of child fire deaths within the 6-county region that strongly suggests foul play are the disproportionately large number of females and, in particular, female children.
Now, if you heard her, she said that because of the unusually high number of female children that are being killed in these fires, it's pretty clear that it's murder, because children are 60% less likely to die in fires than adults. I mean, it's just I just can't tell you. I mean, it to me, it's just crazy. And the more we get into these statistics and look at this, the worse it is.
The data in Table 2A reveals that 26 of the 36 fire deaths since 2016, or 72%, were women and children.
So 26 of the 36 were women, or 72%.
These numbers are far removed from normal fire mortality demographics. On average, 62% of all fire deaths are male and 38% are female.
So, on average, more men die in fires than women, except in these 6-county areas. And that's based on her comparison to the U.S. average that the CDC keeps track of.
In the 6-county area, the male and female ratio has been flipped upside down, with females comprising 61% of all fire deaths and males at only 39%. The numbers in Table 2A and 2B are valuable in terms of what they say behaviorally about a suspected serial killing arsonist who is targeting female children. Fire deaths in the 6-county area have been 150% higher than expected since 2016 revise, but female child fire deaths are 1,500% higher.
Female child deaths are 1,500% higher during this time period. 1,500%. Unbelievable.
Okay, 1,500%. The numbers in Table 2A are statistical evidence that the person responsible for
So she talks about femicide and the fact that women are killed simply because they're female, and that this person is moving on to other counties in and around Carroll County. And she has a list here of saying their names. These are the male and female 6-county child fire deaths between 2016 and March of 2022. And their ages are here, and their names. And I believe we have 4 boys and all the rest are girls. So we have 4 boys and 15 girls.
The victim list shown is a complete tally of the 19 children who died in 6 county fires since 2016. The list contains the names of 15 girls and 4 boys. Please take a moment to study it and think about how it compares to Indiana State Police dedicating all of their law enforcement resources to the murder of 2 Delphi girls.
Now, with that being said, I don't know if Allie took a lot of heat for this or not, that statement that she made. I know it was out of the goodness of her heart, because I know that she wants Delphi solved just as badly as Flora. But what she said is the truth. When you're looking at those 15 children that have been murdered and the 4 little boys that have died in these fires, and they're not sending any of their investigators to truly investigate these fires or these, all this arson that's going on everywhere where these children are dying, they're sending all their resources to Delphi. Everything's going to Delphi. And it's apparent that it is. And I know they talk about the fact that, well, Flora's being worked out of the same office in Delphi that Abby and Libby's case is. Well, I wonder how many investigators are still looking at it. And in my opinion, and I think everybody else in here, Truth Justice, Meow, Zedong, Unsolved Crimes, I think we all feel the same way. The FBI needs to be involved in this case right now. We need to have, I believe the Department of Justice needs to be involved. They need to get the ATF in here. I think that the governor of Indiana needs to request a special prosecutor to come in and oversee what's going on with all of these fires that has this county on burning. I mean, it's ridiculous that we as YouTubers that have dug into this and found this kind of stuff, that we have to put it out there and say this. It's ridiculous. The professionals should know this. We shouldn't have to tell them to do their jobs. And I agree, Tamara. I've said this for a long time. When Nick McClellan took over, he made a public statement that from now on, everything Delphi goes through him. All information, anything. And I guarantee you it's probably that way with Flora and any of the other high-profile cases that they're looking at, which, in my opinion, would be the ISP officer and her daughter who died in the suspicious arson fire in February. I guess they haven't come right out yet and said it was arson. It's still being investigated because I do believe they believe it's arson. And that was just February of this year. And she was the polygrapher that was doing the polygraph tests for Flora. So you can't tell me that that's not suspicious when that person dies in a suspicious fire, and she's one of the officers that's actually working on the Flora case. There's just too many. Thank you, Truth Justice, Stephanie Thompson and Maya Thompson. And the fact that what happened to Stephanie isn't even more talked about, I'm just floored that more people are not saying what the hell's going on in these counties, because it just there's too many coincidences. Just too many. Way too many. Let's listen a little bit more.
And I am not saying, you guys, that the murder of those two girls should be downplayed in any way, shape, or form. But we have to think about what is truly going on here. The data speaks, and it is being ignored. Little girls are being targeted. And the claim by Indiana State Police that two detectives worked full time on the Flora arson murder.
Yes, Tamara, she was. She was the Stephanie Thompson. She did two things. She did interviews of suspects in the Flora fire, and she also did the polygraph tests for anybody that they polygraphed for Flora. She was actively working on the Flora case, and she worked out of the Lafayette Post, so I'm assuming she's also part of the Delphi investigation, or was part of the Delphi investigation as well. So I know it's unbelievable.
Murder potentially means the need is at least another dozen that they don't have to investigate the 6-county fires. The people of Carroll County and the 6-county area desperately need federal investigative help here. And I'm not really sure what the involvement outside of the invitation from state and local resources would be. We are potentially dealing with a homicidal, serial killing, mass murdering arsonist. I'm not sure what that means in terms of whether or not the FBI may uphold jurisdiction in taking complete authority over this case. But we truly need more investigative eyes on this, you guys. Tables 3A and 3B are printouts from these.
I'm going to stop it there and ask that you guys definitely head over there and watch Unsolved Crime stuff. Allie's doing an absolute bang up job on this, and her take on it, it's very possible. I mean, she believes that there could very well be a person who is targeting people because of a number of different things: race, gender choices. There are family members of these victims who are members of the LGBTQ community. That could be a motive. There's all different kinds of reasons that this person could be doing what they're doing. But all I can say is that there is too many red flags going around this county and the surrounding area that I can't believe that law enforcement is either trying to keep it quiet, not talking about it, not asking for help. I mean, they're the ones, Doug Carter could absolutely call the ATF in and say, look, we need help. There's something going on here that even we don't understand. And you're very welcome, Unsolved. You're so welcome. Not a problem. For people to target other people, this person may have a God complex of some kind. I mean, it's hard to say really what they feel they're ridding the world of sin. I mean, who knows? There are so many aspects of what could be going on, but all I can tell you is that if it's not that, then we have multiple counties that have inept fire response. And most of these little counties all have volunteer fire departments. So I don't know if that's what's going on here. I doubt it, because these fires are being intentionally set. And it's not just in the response time. Although I do believe that that needs to be looked at as well, and especially in Flora. I don't understand how, like I said earlier, how somebody who owns the property gets a phone call that it's on fire and engulfed and doesn't call 911. And Meow is correct. A lot of times arsonists are firemen. A lot of times they are. Because if they are drawn to fire, what better field to be in, and what better place to be than to be in a firehouse and to be a fireman? It's very possible. So, yeah, and all of them have been deemed accidental due to lightning or deliberately set by a child. So yeah, let's blame the kids. Let's blame the kids, you know. And Unsolved thinks that he may well be tied to Youth for Christ. She has a good reason for thinking all the things that she thinks. I've seen her reasoning and why she thinks that. And I believe it's quite possible. But watch her video. You will understand a lot more as to why she thinks the way she does. Exactly, Meow. Hey, Cindy. How are you? Accidental due to lightning is not remotely common. So it doesn't happen. People, your house is not going to get struck by lightning and caused by fire most of the time. It's not something that we see a lot of. So let's go back here and see if there was any questions. Did anybody have any questions? Is there anything that people want to talk about before we get out of here tonight? I so appreciate you all coming to talk about Flora. Because it's just wrong what's happening in this area. And to hear Doug Carter talk about, we know it's power to you, and serial arsonists, it's about power to them, taking control back in their lives. It's a way for them to try to yeah, Carroll County is burning. It is. And so are the other counties around it. And it's quite sad. It's very sad. Very, very sad. And I just hate the fact that there's times when I just feel like the girls have been forgotten. It's just like nobody talks about them, and everybody's focused so hardly and so directly at Delphi, and it's just like these four little girls were amazing, and their mom was doing the best she could for her girls. She was working 2 jobs. She was so excited to have that apartment and to all of them to be together. She had them in dance and in cheerleading, which is expensive. She was doing everything that she could to make sure that her girls were getting a well-rounded upbringing. And I'm so tired of people talking bad about her. I just am. I'm over it. But the smoke alarms that were in the house were not working, and that is up to the landlord. When you own property, that is something that you should be checking monthly, to make sure that your properties are safe for those who live in them. No, Pam, the feds were in Delphi. There was only one FBI agent in Delphi when the girls were killed, and that was because he was visiting family. So he wasn't there investigating anything. But I do think, like I said, they died at the end of November in 2016, and 3 months later, Abby and Libby are murdered. So their case kind of went on the back burner, and the U.S. Marshals are in Delphi. I mean, they're active in the Delphi case. We've been told that. Doug Carter said the FBI was, as well as the U.S. Marshals. Hey, Faye, how are you? Good to see you. So yeah, I mean, there's multiple agencies that have worked on the Delphi case, and I have no way of knowing if they're all still active in it or not. I would hope so. I really hope so. But I really wish we had the same eyes and the same amount of people looking at the Flora cases as well, and the fires. Yeah, the landlord, Daniel, the landlord was actually told. She told the landlord a week or 2 before the fire that she had problems with outlets in her kitchen, and that she had an issue with the back door not latching and locking, and I don't remember what else. And they did come and they did fix the outlets, supposedly. I don't know about the door. Obviously not, since it wasn't latching. Yeah, leaky ceiling. She had a leaking ceiling, or a leaky ceiling, and a malfunctioning stove. And that's why they thought they were looking at the stove as maybe the start of the fire, but that was ruled not to be the case. Unsolved Crime said also suspicious was they had new windows put in the house. Makes her wonder if the windows were bolted down, which prevented the girls from escaping. And if that was true, that would be horrific. And I never did understand why the first responders broke out the windows on the downstairs first floor. Made no sense to me why they vented that fire and allowed oxygen into it, because it made it absolutely go crazy when they did that. And that's one of the first things they did when they got on site. And that just doesn't make any sense from a person looking at it as to why you would do that. That's for sure. Yeah, and again, no fire escape and no plan of action either. Um, I think that's one thing to remember out there, everyone, is make sure that you have a fire evacuation plan in your home with yourselves and your children. If you have grandchildren, whatever. Um, it's just, you have to make sure that you have some sort of a plan because it's too late when it happens. It's too late. Things are too crazy. This is where Randall is most suspicious about breaking out the windows. Is that what you were talking about, Meow? It's really important. I don't think we talk about it enough, but we need to talk about escape plans and knowing what to do in a fire. Talk to your children about what to do in a fire, and make sure that they understand, and then practice it. Have your fire drills that you have with your family. You can make them fun so they're not scary, but make them important. Make them understand the serious nature of it. Yeah, the windows bothered me. When I heard that they were breaking the windows out on that first floor, I was like, why would they do that? That just adds oxygen inside that house. And we all know that that's what fire breathes on. Without it, a fire goes out. So, yeah. Yes, Faye, they did. It was smoke inhalation. It's usually what gets you in a fire. Basically, you suffocate. Any way to look at it, that's what happens. You just can't breathe anymore. You get so much smoke in your lungs that your lungs do not function, and you can't breathe. It's a horrific way to die. Yeah, there was. I do know about that as well. Meow's talking about the pre-mortem burns that the girls suffered. So they were burned. I agree. Someone needs to be held accountable. If anybody has any tips or whatever, please make sure that you do tip them in. That's the other thing about Flora. Hold on a second and let me get the banner up for them. Is that there for a while they had you mailing your tips into a P.O. box, which I thought was interesting. If something was going on to those girls, what better way to cover it up than a fire? It's another thing to think about as well. No, Faye, it's fine. It's good night, Jennifer. So glad that you were here with us, honey. It's fine to ask questions. It's the only way we learn. So you guys, I'm gonna close the stream tonight then, and we'll get out of here. But I just can't say enough about Meow Zedong and Unsolved Crimes Uncovered. They have really, really done a lot of legwork on these fires, and I'm so proud of them for sticking with it. Like I said, Meow's got a great subreddit with a ton of information over there. So even if you guys aren't big Reddit fans or big Reddit users, go over there and check out the work that's being done, because Meow, maybe the next show. It's a little late right now, but I would love to have you on. I would love to have you and Unsolved Crimes on, both of you, and we could talk about it. It's thank you. I think that I have some really good subscribers here. They're always very respectful. They asked really good questions. Oh, I'm drinking this. It's called Sparkling Frost, and it's pink grapefruit. It's one of my favorite things to drink. I like the sparkling ice one as well, but this is just a cheaper version of it. I think it's like 49 cents for a bottle of it. So, but anyway. So yeah, guys, I thank you so much for coming. Remember to subscribe and hit the like button, and also ring the bell or press the bell so that you guys can get notification when I go live next. I usually am live on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. That is my schedule at this point in time. I'm working on a couple of new lives coming up. Going to hopefully have a live real soon with a couple of guests. So I hope that works out. Once I have it all locked down, I will tell you guys more about it. And my big news that I wanted to tell you was that my website is getting closer and closer to being done. Thank you so much, Mel at Cold Truth, for sending Matt my way. Anybody out there that's looking for someone to do a website for their YouTube channel, I have a wonderful person who does an amazing job. So email me and I will get you in touch with him. But I'm really excited about that happening real soon. So I will have that up and going. I also will be having some giveaways soon with some merchandise for some of my subscribers. So we'll start doing some drawings in here on my streaming nights so that I can give you guys some merch. And so I'm excited about that as well. And like I said, I appreciate all of you for being here, for supporting me. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you. To my moderators, thank you so much for showing up and always having my back. To all of my members, thank you so much for joining. I will be having member-only content very soon. for all of you. So you will start getting some of the things that are promised to you in your membership. But sure, Unsolved, I'll send that to you. No problem. Meow, I think I have your email address. I think. And I'll send it to you as well. But like I said, yeah, he's wonderful. So thank you guys. Everyone have a really great rest of your week. And I will see you on Saturday night. Good night, everybody. It was good to talk to you tonight.